Let's do it.
This is your adopted teacher one.
Okay. Merry Christmas and Feliz Navidad. We welcome you all to our December board recognitions, which will take place on behalf of our superintendent and the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board. First, we have our 2023 Fall Sports Champions. I'd like to call up Miss Anderson. Miss Anderson, you have the floor.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for having us. If I can have the members of the Office of Athletics and Student Activities please come on in. So we are excited to present to you all our 2023 Fall Sports Champions for elementary school as well as middle school. Just before we call those people in, I want to recognize the folks behind the scenes who make this happen. That's the members of the Office of Athletics and Student Activities. That includes myself, Christina Anderson, Mr. Lester Ricard, wave to people. All right, Dr. Gregory Thompson, Mr. Donnell Hyde, and Miss Clarissa Johnson, right on time. Come on. She was helping get our kids around there. So these are the people that supervise health and PE and athletics for the district. They do a very, very wonderful job, working very hard every day with our students, teachers, coaches, and parents who support our student athletes. So I want to appreciate them for their hard work really quick. Thank you. Next up, we're going to bring in from this side over here our elementary school sports champions we have co-champions for our pre-K through first volleyball group, and they are from Wedgwood, where the principal is Charlita Williams. The coach is Amaria Sapp. Come on in. And Westminster, Principal Richard Ratliff, Coach Latricia House. And just to let you guys know, elementary sports, they worked in clusters. So we had pre-K through first, second and third, and fourth and fifth. So our pre-K through first co-champions are right here. We're going to give them a round of applause. We have and I'm not sure if the board member wants to come down for their area, Wedgwood and Westminster. They're welcome to join our picture really quickly. And they have some medals that we're going to give them as well. And I just want to let you guys know while they're doing that, this was a great opportunity. We're so excited about how elementary sports is growing. This is year 3, and we've had the school numbers almost double in the participation. And it's an opportunity for us to lay groundwork and skill development for our student athletes who will join us later on with the group you see at middle school and have the opportunity to learn skills, teamwork, relationship building, conflict resolution, how we do all things related to sports. So this is a great way to encourage them to continue to do well in their academics as well, because they have some requirements at their schools to be able to participate. And so these student athletes and coaches did a wonderful job doing that this fall. So congratulations to our co-champions, Westminster and Wedgwood.
All day.
All right, next up, we have our grade cluster 2nd through 3rd for volleyball. Our champions there were Magnolia Woods, Principal Joy Watson, coaches Charlisa Joseph and Rashonda Williams, and they were our 2nd through 3rd grade cluster volleyball champions, Magnolia Woods. Right now here? Okay, they didn't make it. We're going to give them a round. We'll send them back. All right. All right, we have two. Oh, yes. Come on over. Come on over. I will stand with you. Yes, come on. We're going to stand right back here.
So on behalf of the superintendent, we have these medals for you guys. Congratulations.
All right, and unable to attend tonight, but I want to make sure we recognize them and give them a round of applause. Our 4th through 5th grade volleyball champions were Mayfair Lab, Principal Kyle Fontenette, and Coach Caitlin Cage. So congratulations to Mayfair Lab, 4th and 5th grade volleyball champions. Okay, our other fall sport was flag football. For 2nd through 3rd grade cluster, the flag football champion was Magnolia Woods, Principal Joy Watson, Coach Breon Williams, and Isaiah Cole. Oh, okay, coach is representing. Come on. Coach is representing for all the players.
This is their bag.
All right, and our 4th and 5th grade cluster flag football champion, Glen Oaks Park, Principal Bernard Williams, Coach Daniel Fisher. They are definitely here in full force. Right.
Good job, fellas. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations again to Glen Oaks Park. All right, next up we move to our middle school champions. So middle school volleyball champion, Westdale Middle School, Principal Ramona Rimble. Coaches Shawanda Hill, Anna Green, Raja Hollins. So our middle school champions, Westdale Middle School. Coach. As they assemble our group, I'm going to give you guys this fun fact. Westdale Middle School has been volleyball champion 9 times, okay?
On behalf of the superintendent, I'm about to present this handful of medals. Okay, all right, here we go.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. All right, Westdale.
All right, one more to go. You ready?
Said 3 consecutive years.
We're here? Okay. And our last one, we'll get out of the way. Our middle school football champion, 3 consecutive years, Seasal Middle School, Principal Lamont Cole, Coach Kevin Jackson and Kirk Pellichet. Middle school football champions. I'll make 2, yeah, make 2 rows, 3 rows, baby. 3 rows.
AD.
Can't see you, Damien.
So congratulations again to all of our fall sports champions. While I have you here, I want to encourage our parents and supporters and the audience caregivers, join us. Our winter sports will be kicking off soon, so look for that information on our social media pages and come out and support our student athletes. They work very hard to do great things out on the field. So thank you guys again. Have a great afternoon.
So this is hers. You got yours, right? Yeah, I put all this stuff. Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. We are now moving from our fall sports champions to our student of the year, Mr. Joffrion.
Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Narcisse. At this time, we would like to highlight the Students of the Year for 2023-2024 school year. Tonight, we gather to celebrate the outstanding achievements and excellence of our young scholars in grades 5th, 8th, and 12th. The selection process for these remarkable students is both thorough and meticulous. From each public and district charter school, a standout student is chosen as the school's Student of the Year. These chosen individuals then submit portfolios that undergo rigorous evaluations, meticulously judged against the guidelines set by the Louisiana Department of Education. From this, we pick all the winners from each school, but we only pick 3 that will represent the district on the state level. So we will first start with our public charter school winners. And I'm waiting for it to come on the screen. You ready for the first one? That's what I was asking. Okay, I'm sorry, I will have to pull it up. I was waiting for the screen. I need the list, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Students of the Year we will start with our district winners. Our elementary Student of the Year for the district is Brennan Smith from Westdale Heights Elementary. Our middle school district winner is Madeline Whitmore from Westdale Middle. So I must tell you all before I move on, Madeline did her interview today, and she has won the Regional Student of the Year, and she will be a state-nominated Student of the Year. That's some great news for Christmas, right? Our high school district Student of the Year is Noor Akram from Woodlawn High School. And I'm still looking for my district. My charter. No, it's just, oh, it is. I'm sorry. Sorry. Our elementary district charter student of the year is Carson Hatch from CSAL Elementary. And our middle school district winner is from Inspire Charter Academy, Michaela Henderson. Let's congratulate these students one more time.
And Mr. Joffrion, if you don't mind, I'll be real quick. I just want everyone to see this amazing display of children or students. Oftentimes, you always hear that either they attend a direct run school, a magnet school, or a charter school. But I want everybody to see today that these are all of our students. They are all shining. They are all thriving and making our system better. So please give them another round of applause. Congratulations, students.
So the names are here.
Thank you. I'm sorry? No, this is for the Christmas card.
He is. Where is he?
He's right here. He's in the crowd.
I am so sorry. Yes, I will. Just for mentioning, because this is truly an honor for us to have, and he's making history in our district tonight. We have a Renaissance Student Award that we gave this year. We have so many exceptional students that they really all stand out. But it's always one that really truly stands out amongst all of the kids, a little bit more than others. And this student, just to give you a background of him, the Renaissance Award is called that because they are bringing new, exciting changes to their communities and their schools. And this year's winner attends Bel Air High School, and he is one who came to our district as a non-speaking English student who has been a straight A student since he has been in our district or on honor roll, to the point where he saw programming at his school that was lacking, and he took it upon himself to start things like bringing back the school's yearbook and actually having a club and finding the teacher sponsors that he needed to make sure that happened. He also saw the need for the Heritage Club needed at his school to support and show pride in his heritage. And he started that club at his school as well, to the point they actually have an actual program and they spend the entire day celebrating the culture. So he has done big things at his school. He's known at his school, and what I've understood is that he really wants to go to college, become a counselor, and work in East Baton Rouge Parish Schools. So please, let's give a warm round of applause to Juan Hernandez for the Renaissance Student Award. And one, Ms. Hall says, when you get that degree, come see her. She has a job for you. Now we will go to Christmas card winners, and our Visual Arts Specialist, Ms. Katie Harlan, will do the honors.
Thank you, Mr. Jofrion. On behalf of the Fine Arts Department, we would like to congratulate the winners of our annual greeting card contest. Students from across the district were asked to design a greeting card based on the holiday spirit. And about 60 submissions were received by our department, and we would like to honor the winners today. The winners will be getting their own set of cards to distribute however they please. And I'd like to call up Ms. Phadrian Hopkins, fourth grade from Ryan Elementary, and her teacher, Ms. Fanny Brown. The cards are now visible on the screen. You can see their designs. For the middle school category, Rachel Robichaux, 8th grader from McKinley Middle Academic Magnet. Teacher, Mr. Chet Natesh. And the high school winner, Sophia Lockridge, 11th grader from Baton Rouge Magnet High School. Teacher, Ms. Azita Arista.
Okay, moving right along. The next recognition we have is Adopt a Teacher. I would like to call up Ms. Hall, Ms. Lance, and Dr. Flicker.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hi. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I hope you guys check out our Grinch video to send a little warm, fuzzy feeling for the holidays. But we're going to segue right into it because we have a hard stop at 5. So the 27th annual 2023 Adopt a Teacher. Dr. Flicker is here. Flicker is here with his team. This is an ongoing community service it's a project that is an exchange between EBR and school aides. So the exchange, it's a national exchange club. It's been around for 112 years, serving communities nationwide, and it's been serving in Baton Rouge for 27 years. So over the past 27 years, 646 new teachers, 69 elementary schools, and over $250,000 that's been awarded in grants to EBR. So I'm going to pass this off to Dr. Flicker. There you go. All right.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I was so impressed with all these students. The only award I ever won was Most Improved Behavior, which tells you where I started. Anyway, I want to just tell you who our partners, our sponsors were. Without them, we wouldn't have the money to give to all these fantastic new teachers. School Aids has been with us from the beginning. Capital One Bank, the Louisiana Lottery Corporation, Giraffic Prints on Government Street, they make t-shirts, Parker's Pharmacy, Citizens Bank. Those are our corporate sponsors this year, if you'll go to the next slide. Then, of course, the Exchange Club of Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Area Society of Psychologists. They've been with this program pretty much from the beginning since I've been the president of that group. And now some individuals, Lillian and John Grossley. Lillian is here. She's a past president, and she was my main partner in securing the donations from the business community. Myself, Dr. Christine Angelos, another psychologist here in town, Nadine and Scott Cooper, who are members of the Exchange Club, and so too is Deanna Cash. If you'll go to the next slide. So we have 24 new teachers, and I believe there are about 8 of them here. And we're only going to introduce those who are here. If they'll come forward. And the names of all the teachers are there. Those who are not here, we will visit in their schools, or we will meet them at School Aids to give them their grants. Okay, if Ambria Coleman is here. How many? Right. Ambria Coleman of White Hills Elementary. Lainey Davis of Woodlawn Elementary. Trent Garrett of Melrose Elementary. Raven Lindsay of Cedar Crest Southmore Elementary. Emily Gilbert of Mayfair Lab. Malandi, I may be mispronouncing it, Sapp of Park Forest Elementary. Sharika Scott of Shenandoah Elementary. And Brenda Ogana of Cedar Crest Southmore Elementary. And your gift cards to School Aids, the grants are in the form of gift cards to School Aids. They are in the folder with a certificate. The other teachers we will visit, again, at their schools. We appreciate the support of all of our sponsors. Again, without them, we couldn't do this. So we will be back next year, and we'll be approaching 700 new teachers, and hopefully soon, $500,000.
I did not bring my phone.
I've got mine. Should we get in the picture?
Yes.
Please get in the picture, Dr. Flicker.
We'll get in the picture.
My phone is
Could we give another round of applause to Dr. Flicker and the Exchange Club, please? Thank you so much for your support.
Can y'all back up a little bit?
If all the new teachers will stay, and we'll meet out in the front in the hall, and we've got the goodie bags. We'll take one more group photo of just the teachers and the newspaper.
Thank you.
Is this Miss Richards? I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. May I have one?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not mine. We weren't sure.
Okay.
Thought that would have worked. Thought it would have worked. It did.
We were trying to get your attention. That did it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the hour is now 5:05. This will now begin our regular board agenda on this day, Thursday, December 14, 2023. First, we have our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be led by School Board Member Nathan Russ, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by First Cadet Lieutenant Juan Hernandez. I'm sorry, police, but forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your last. I don't want to mispronounce. What's the last name? Pedro's? Pedreros. Thank you. Okay. Accompanied by Army Instructor First Sergeant Retired William C. Alsobrook Jr. You have the floor.
Please stand and bow your head with me. Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you for all the people in this room that are here to work to serve your will and to work in the best interest of children, Lord. You said in Proverbs, as iron sharpens iron. And I pray that the discourse and our actions will truly sharpen each other, Lord, to become better instruments of your will, Lord. I also reached out to thank you for your son that you gave to die for us, Lord. And as we celebrate this season ahead of us, Lord, that we consider that and all the things that you have done for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am First Sergeant William C. Alsobrook Jr. I am the Lead 1 Army instructor for all incoming freshmen at Bel Air Magnet High School. I am a semi-finalist for the Teacher of the Year for East Baton Rouge Parish. I bring you greetings from the principal, Ms. Baptiste, faculty and staff, and administration. Dr. Narcisse, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Lannis, Board President, and members of the school board, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you one of the outstanding JROTC students at Bel Air Magnet High School, Cadet First Lieutenant Juan Hernandez. Cadet Hernandez is the Student of the Year at Bel Air Magnet High School. This amazing cadet is in the front of position to lead the senior class as the valedictorian student. Additionally, as a senior in his 4th year of JROTC, he has participated in the lead board for 3 consecutive years, getting 3rd and 2nd place in the last 2 years. He has also participated in a JROTC Academic and Leadership Bowl for his 4 years. He holds the rank of First Lieutenant with a cumulative GPA of 4.08. Juan Hernandez is a member of the Beta Club and National Honor Society. Upon graduating, he plans to attend Louisiana State University, majoring in psychology. His dreams is to major in psychology and then get a master and become a school counselor. He also wants to set up his photography and custom clothing design business. Cadet Hernandez is the son of Andy Pedraras and Carlos Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I present to you Cadet First Lieutenant Juan Hernandez Pedraras of Bel Air Magnet High School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. We appreciate you and everything that you do. Continue the great work across our community and anywhere that life takes you. Right? Moving right along. Next, we have item A2, call to order and roll call. Madam Secretary?
District 2, President Lannis.
Present.
District 3, Vice President Powell Lewis.
Present.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Here.
District 4, Ms. Stewart.
Present.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
Present.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Present.
District 7, Mr. Goday.
Here.
District 8, Ms. Chatelaine.
Here.
District 9, Mr. Martin.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. First, we have the approval of the minutes. This is the approval. This is approval of the school board minutes of the November 16, 2023 regular meeting, December 7, 2023 special meeting, and the December 7, 2023 committee of the whole meeting as published in the official journal. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Martin, seconded by School Board Member Stewart. This time now, I'll go to the queue to see if there's any board members that want to speak on this particular item. Seeing none at this time, I will now turn to our public comment box. As I go to our public comment box, I ask anyone who would like to make a public comment on any item tonight, please make your way out to the atrium, grab a comment card, fill out your name, give it to Madam Secretary, and she'll be sure to get it to me, and I will call on you when the item comes up. Seeing none at this time on this particular item, I will go back to our board. Seeing no names in the queue, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote.
Yes, ma'am.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Yes.
District 2, President Lannis.
Yay.
District 3, Vice President Powell Lewis. District 4, Ms. Stewart.
Yes.
District 5, Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Yes.
District 7, Mr. Goday. District 8, Ms. Chatelaine.
Yes.
District 9, Mr. Martin.
Yes, and here's Mr. Goday.
District 7, Mr. Goday. Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving right along, next we have item C. This is for information only. First, we have a monthly report. Is there a monthly report to be given today? Finance? Yes, ma'am. Actually, no, you don't have to do it right now, Ms. Lopez. I apologize. We're going to keep it moving along so that we stay on course with our agenda. Next, we have personnel changes. Are there any reports for personnel changes? All right. Seeing no one in the room right at this time to speak on that. Now, Ms. Lopez, 2022-2023 audit results. And these audit results are reports for the East Baton Rouge Parish School System for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Board President, Superintendent Narcisse, and board members. I'm happy to introduce our auditors, Eisen Amper, who will present our audit findings for 22 and 23.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Strebeck. I'm a partner with Eisner Amper. As many of y'all probably recognize my face, we joined Eisner Amper back in May. We were formerly Postal 8 Netterville, but still the same team, same faces. I'm joined tonight with my colleague, Freddie Smith. He also works in our governmental practice. So as Kelly mentioned, we are here to present the results of the 2023 audit. In front of you, you should have a handout with the slides. I wanted to give kind of a high-level overview of what the audit includes. So we are responsible for giving an opinion on the financial statements. We also look at the federal programs that you have, and those fall under uniform guidance and federal program compliance standards. Then you also have statewide AUPs and the BESI AUP. So there's a lot of information that's required to be gathered that we're responsible for assisting y'all with, and then ultimately issuing our reports. We are substantially complete with the audits, and we will be finished in time to file by the 12/31 deadline. We're pleased to report that there's going to be an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance you can receive. So that's a clean audit opinion. We do look at the design of internal controls, but we do not give an opinion on internal controls. So we do walkthroughs of key areas to make sure that, there's processes in place and checks and balances over those areas to ensure strong financial reporting. For uniform guidance, we look at the design of internal controls and also compliance. So that's a big part of the audit, and we're going to see which programs were tested this year as part of our rotation. The other thing to point out about the agreed upon procedures, those are different. There is no opinion given. That is, it's very yes or no. You have two sets of agreed upon procedures that are required. One set is the statewide agreed upon procedures, which are required by the legislative auditor, that cover 13 different areas for a deeper dive into records. And that's been going on for several years. And then you also have the agreed upon procedures that are required by the Department of Education. So the major programs that we tested this year, y'all had over $193 million in federal dollars for fiscal year 2023. You saw a really large influx of ESSER dollars and other grants that were coming in as we're still trying to go from the COVID fallout and impact and trying to get students back where they need to be. So this year we audited 6 federal programs. The first one was the Education Stabilization Fund, which we've audited in the past, but this was considered high risk by the federal government. And there was approximately $45 million spent for that program. We also audited the IDEA cluster of approximately $11 million, the Emergency Connectivity Fund program for $7 million, Title I for $26 million, Improving Teacher Quality State Grants of $3 million, and then the Child Care and Development Block Grant of $3.9 million. So usually we have about 3 programs that meet the criteria for selection. This year there were 6. Yes?
Are we supposed to be following along? Because I'm lost. I mean, I have it, but I mean.
Page 3.
Can they put it on the screen? I mean, they had it up there.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I wanted.
So there was a significant amount of federal funding this year. We're pleased to report that there were no material findings related to the federal programs. As I mentioned earlier, we look a lot at the compliance with the grant terms and as well as the design of internal controls. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, there are no material weaknesses noted for the financial statements or the federal grants. And then as we review the statewide agreed upon procedures, these are the areas that are covered in those statewide agreed upon procedures. And so as I mentioned earlier, sometimes there can be exceptions because there is no auditor judgment or materiality. There were only a few minor items that we noted. We do have to evaluate if those would result in findings, and they did not. So those were really rather small items over some documentation, over some training, things like that. So nothing really significant there that we would need to bring to your attention. I do want to cover a few of the numbers tonight. So next slide is the general fund only. So just want to kind of point that out. So looking at the highlights of the general fund. So your total revenues for 2023 were approximately $539 million. Your total expenditures were $512 million for an excess of revenues over expenditures of $27 million. And then you have transfers in. So that's the indirect costs that are coming from the federal programs. You see that number is approximately $22 million. The majority of that is related to the ESSER funding. That was such a significant funding source, and it had a large indirect cost rate. So that brought your net surplus to approximately $49 million for this year. Y'all were able to see an increase in your tax revenues during the year, as well as your federal dollars and your MFP dollars. But then that was offset by some increases for general costs such as transportation and an increase to charter schools. And it should be noted that next year the ESSER funding will be winding down. So that was a large amount for 2022 and 2023. The next slide shows the general fund operating reserves. So the yellow shows the general fund operating expenditures, which I mentioned was approximately $512 million compared to the general fund balance of $141 million. It's important to note that the the fund balance you see from 2019 to 2023 is continuing to rise. I know there's been a lot of focus on budgets, making tough decisions, strategic decisions, trying to ensure the stability of the school board going forward. Y'all also do have an internal policy of maintaining approximately 15% of your total revenues in a fund balance. That's an internal policy that y'all have set in past years. And so that is roughly $80 million, and you can see you're at $141 million. The next slide shows fund balances for all the funds. So not only do you have the general fund, you have the child nutrition fund, other federal grant funding, Props 1, 2, and 3, and then other state grants, as well as the internal service funds. So if you look, you can see, significant growth overall in the fund balance for the majority of the buckets. So the pink bucket is non-spendable of approximately $2.5 million. That's related to inventory balances. So from an accounting perspective, that kind of gets set aside. The green bucket is mainly related to the tax propositions and your student activity accounts. In previous years, we had to take the student activity accounts, that's the money that's held at the schools for band and different activities, and that had to be recorded in these numbers. And so for 2023, that was approximately $7 million. The yellow category is assigned, and these are categories assigned by the board to set aside certain funding for future use, such as transportation, compensation, just different things like that. There's some selections made there each year. And you can see a large growth again in the general fund, the general use, which is unassigned. So that's for, unassigned purposes going forward for general operations. So that was $105 million of the $371 million. The purple is related to your internal service funds, which is related to your medical, your risk management, your workers' comp funds. That's approximately $43 million. That's the only one that went down slightly, but that's been strategic over the past several years as y'all are monitoring those balances in the various accounts for compliance. And so that it was expected and planned. But it still remains a significant balance to cover those costs going forward. The next slide is the net position. So we've talked a lot about funds, and that's how things are accounted for at the school board on a daily basis. You track operations that are going to occur each year, the revenue and expenses, things like that. From an accounting perspective, when you complete your annual comprehensive financial report, you have to do what's called government-wide reporting, and that's where you're putting on long-term assets and long-term liabilities. So your long-term assets would be fixed assets. So all the schools, things like that. And so that's approximately $460 million of assets that gets recorded on the government-wide at year end. The other area is approximately $800 million related to bonds outstanding, the net pension liability, and other post-employment benefits. So those were significant standards that came out years ago that basically just said you need to forecast what those costs are going to be for those employees through their retirement age. So there's significant estimates that are involved in that. You do use an actuary. We spend a lot of time looking at the inputs and looking at the payroll numbers that are used to calculate those liabilities. But whenever you have such large liabilities and you put those on the books, it creates this large deficit in the yellow, which is about $554 million. Every government has that. That is not something that you're able to control. There's no way to fully fund those programs without significant investments. And so you can see there has been some improvement year over year, and a lot of that has to do with some of the changes in the rates, changes in some of the program options that y'all are offering. But again, that's not really going to be expected to flip back up positive going forward. I do want to point out the blue, which is approximately $185 million, and that's restricted monies. The majority of that's related to the props of $121 million. And about $9 million in grants. Next slide, please. So just to conclude, as I said, we've spent a significant amount of time looking at the numbers, looking at the federal programs, and working through the agreed upon procedures. We received full cooperation and documentation that we needed throughout the audit. As I mentioned earlier, there are significant estimates that have to be evaluated each year and looked at, and we are comfortable with those estimates. And we're not aware of any other prior discussions with other auditors or any other disagreements that we would need to report. One thing that we do point out is will request a representation letter from management, and that just states that they provided us with all of the information. There's a lot of activity that occurs outside of truly just the finance department, whether it's cooperative endeavor agreements, leases, other things that potentially would have an impact to the financial statements. So we will request that and obtain that before we issue our final report. And then we do point out some of our non-audit services are assisting with financial statements and the data collection form. Those are some formalities just to make sure that you as a board are aware that we are independent, both personally and as a firm, related to the organization. So that kind of concludes my results. Again, we really do appreciate the opportunity to serve the board, and we appreciate everyone's help. It takes a lot of different departments and a lot of different people to help us get here and ready for this meeting tonight to help y'all comply with your reporting. So any questions?
I'm sorry, 1 second. April confused me, Mike. First in the queue, we have School Board Member Mike Godet.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your report, and thank all of the employees for the district that went through and worked on all of this. I do have a couple of quick questions. So one of questions and a request. As you know, we will be totally revising all of our financial system and all of the HR system and all the procurement system and how those things finally will be interacting together. And hopefully we'll get away from a lot of paperwork and get to a lot more electronic things and move into the 21st century. But with all of that, what role has your organization, if any, has played in reviewing how that new system is going to be implemented and the internal controls and everything in that system?
Yes, thank you for that question. We do look at IT controls. So we did look at your previous system as far as access controls and as well as, is it properly designed? How is it kind of functioning? Are the proper parameters set up for things such as limits on checks or budgets and who has access? So we've had several conversations with management so far as they've kind of talked through like some of, the first steps of integration. We have not had a deep dive yet into that, but we will definitely have that scheduled prior to starting the next audit, just to ensure that, things are worked out, or if there's any concerns that we have, there's time to remediate that before the next audit.
Okay. And I guess one of the questions that I have as we go through this is just because I think there's differences of understanding as to what type of audit this is. Mm-hmm. And the one example, and I'm not bringing up, no one's done anything wrong or anything, I'm just bringing it up to get clarity. For instance, we go back and we've brought in some new people in HR and things like that, and we find that we have like 10,000 job descriptions for 6,000 employees. We really only have like maybe 600 jobs and stuff like that. How do things like that get passed on an audit? Is that something you guys don't look at all? Because obviously those procedures were broken.
We look at more of the financial payment side of things. So for instance, payroll. So we're looking at, is that person properly paid according to the salary schedule? Is there support in their folder for things like that? So we're not really necessarily looking at it from an operational standpoint outside of like key controls that ensure that the financial reporting is accurate. So we're not looking at operational
So this
activities.
audit is strictly financial. And so it's got nothing to do with any operational issues. Right. That's a fine answer. I'm just trying to understand.
If we see something, we may make a recommendation, but that's not really included in the scope of our work.
Okay. Because that as we pushing and as we get this new system in place, I think that's going to be an area we're going to want to really push a lot harder, because I think we got by for years with having a clean financial audit, but an operational system that was less than desirable, let me put it that way. And, that's the kind of things that need to change. And I think some people had a reliance in their mind that, we're getting this audit and it's a clean audit and that sort of stuff. And I just want to highlight that what's being audited here is a very narrow scope for what is in the whole thing. The only, getting back to payroll, someone getting a check that's not working, that might be something you might catch on this. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Because I don't think you're going through and doing records or anything like that, are you?
So we do look at records for payroll as far as, again, were they accurately paid? Is there a timesheet? Is there support? But again, it's a sample. And so as
Sure,
you mentioned,
understand.
if there's 6,000 employees,
I understand.
we select 40. And so maybe sometimes that stuff pops up, but that's not really within the scope of the testing.
So I just want people to, and look, this is a great audit. I'm not trying to do anything like that, but people just need to understand what this is. This is strictly the checkbook balanced and things worked and stuff like that. But it's not, as we said, an operational audit to say everything is going fine and hunky-dory and that kind of stuff. And I see Mr. Smith out there. My neighbor's going to throw rocks at my house. But I'm not, you guys are doing the job you're paid to do. I'm not trying to say anything other than that. It's just I want people to understand what it is.
Yeah, I'm glad you're actually pointing that out, because a lot of people misunderstand the scope of what we do, and they say, oh, we got a clean audit. Well, everything's hunky-dory. Well, no, that's why we have communications regarding the scope of the audit, what it does, what it doesn't do. Don't get me wrong, and this is a good audit. You should be proud that you're managing your finances appropriately, and this school system is in good financial shape. But that doesn't necessarily mean operationally everything's perfect. There can also be efficiencies gained that we may not be identifying, again, because it's beyond the scope of what we do.
Thank you very much. And you can come cut my grass for that one.
Okay, thank you, School Member Gode. Next in the queue, we have School Member Chatelain.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to say kudos to the finance team. I think, this is pretty impressive from a financial perspective to have no material findings across 6 major federal funding sources is impressive. I understand the work that goes into that, and to just close your ears to deal with the auditors in your office for as long as they are. It kind of pulls you away from your day-to-day. So I just wanted to say congrats and job well done all around.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Chatelain. Seeing other names inside of the queue, I'll just also say thank you. It is always great to know, and for our community to always be on standby and understanding that our books are clean and clear. So thank you. Seeing other names inside of the queue, that's going to conclude our audit report unless you have anything else you'd like to say.
That's all. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay. Moving right along, next we have to receive his information only, updates from the superintendent. Dr. Cedar Narcisse, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Lannis. First, we wanted to say to our community and everyone, happy holidays. Super excited that we're going to go into the holiday break. Even as I was in schools yesterday, the kids are like just chomping at the bit for Friday to come. So guys, tomorrow is Friday, but you still got to go to school. But we'll get through the last day and then go to our break. So just a few announcements for the board and the community. We've begun receiving more new electric buses. As you know, we received a $7.5 million grant. We received 10 buses earlier this school year and are in the process of accepting 9 more buses that will be ready to be bolstered in our bus fleet this spring. The second thing, hopefully you're watching a lot of our media and on television, that we finished purchasing gifts for 233 students in transition who applied for the program in our Adopt the Elf campaign. And this is a way to make sure that those most in need have a wonderful holiday. We are preparing the items for distribution at 11 o'clock a.m. on Thursday, December 21st at the Capitol Elementary School Library. These families can participate in the full array of events that day, such as breakfasts, games, and pictures with Santa. So we're really excited that the community is really coming together every day that we are doing this work, and so we appreciate that support. And last but not least, just wanted to give a heads up on the holiday break schedule. Just a reminder that all district sites and offices will be closed from December 18th through January 3rd for the holiday break, and students will return to class on January 5th. So if anyone has any questions or anything, just remember all of our sites will be closed from December 18th through January 3rd for the holiday break, and then students will return to class on the Friday, January 5th. And President Lannis, that is my report.
Thank you. So our students get 3 weeks out of school? 3 weeks? That's amazing. All right, moving right along, we're going to go to reports from board appointees to committees and agencies. Are there any reports at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll continue to move right along. Wait a second. Yep. Seeing none at this time, we'll continue to move right along. We'll now get into our votable items of business, first of which is going to be F, which is unfinished business. Item 1, professional services contract, consideration of a request to forego RFQ and authorize the superintendent to negotiate and execute a contract with the Council of Great City Schools to provide a budget for consulting services. Can I get a motion? I see we have School Board Member Carla Powell-Lewis in the queue. You have the floor.
Okay, considering this particular item, speaking number one on behalf of those who have participated in this process, am I correct in saying, Board Member Martin, that that the motion will be to defer this to a date that's not certain?
Uncertain. Yes,
Uncertain.
That's the motion I'd like to have made, yes, ma'am. And I'm happy to make it, or you can, whichever.
It's okay. She's already making the motion, so I'll put you down as a second. School Board Member
Thank
Martin.
you.
Agreed, thank you.
Okay. Right, at this time now, we have a motion on the floor with a second. We will now come to our board for any public comment. I'm sorry, board comment. Give you a few seconds. Oh, here we go. Coach Lewis, you are now in the queue. You sure? You sure? Okay. Seeing no other names in the queue at this time now, we will now turn to the public. 1 second. We have Dr. James Finney. Okay, he passes on this item. Seeing no other names for public comment on this particular item this time, we come back to our board. Seeing no, Coach, you're in the queue? Okay. Go ahead, Coach, you have the floor.
Yeah, I understand the motion. I just do not want us to sit here and be in the same place we were this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
We're halfway through December. We're staring down the barrel of January.
Mm-hmm.
We just, we need to start moving on the budget. We all know how that turned out last year. So let's be mindful of what we're doing here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. That's duly noted, and I also second that. So thank you. Seeing other names at the queue at this time now, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
To make sure I have it right, it was to defer to a date not certain, correct?
Yes.
Ms. Powell-Lewis, Mr. Martin.
Yes, ma'am.
Please vote.
Do we need to vote before Mr. Shamlin speaks? Oh, okay.
The motion carries.
Okay, moving along. Next item we have is F2. Consideration of an cooperative endeavor agreement, YWCA. This is a consideration of a request for the approval of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and the YWCA of Greater Baton Rouge in the amount of $1,500,000 to provide services for students. Can I get a motion? I see we have School Board Member Carla Powell-Lewis in the queue.
Okay, good evening again, everyone. Would just like to ask that that I make a motion that we will defer this particular item to a date uncertain as well, just to give us some more time to continue to develop the details of this program.
Yes, ma'am. All right, that is seconded by School Board Member Mark Ballou. Okay, this time now I'll turn to the queue to see if we have any comments. All right, I see Attorney Shamlin, you're in the queue. Will you pass? All right, Ms. Carla Powell-Lewis, would you like to speak or pass? All right, Coach Lewis, would you like to speak or pass?
Speak.
Okay, you have the floor.
This item, this is what, the third time? It seems by now, people should know what they want to do. the services, all those things that are attached to this $1.5 million giveaway should be hashed out by now. A lot of the services that they're talking about that we've seen in this are services that are already being offered throughout the district. We have a truancy program, we have counselors in schools. You know, I just see a lot of duplication of services that could possibly take place with this. Because of my time in the schools, I reached out to numerous counselors and social workers. And they all stated the fact that a lot of it looks like duplication of services. So I just think we really need to tread lightly when we're talking about giving away $1.5 million. That'll make $3 million we've given away this year. Not saying it's not a good cause, but I just think if those services are available, then we need to make sure that our kids are exposed to those services that are already out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach. I see we have Ms. Diane Payton in the side of the building. Would you like to come to the mic and speak towards this item, or you don't have to? It's completely up to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis, for your comments. Duly noted. Also, we are trying to pull together the details. We want to be thorough. We want to make sure that all of our partners have a chance to influence the budget. What we give to you is tight. We know it's accountable. We know that all the details are there, and it's something that you can be confident in voting for. I disagree with the duplication of services, but I do respect your opinion, Mr. Lewis. But outside of that, I have nothing further to share at this time.
Thank you,
thank
Ms.
you for
Payton.
your consideration.
We appreciate you. Ms. Chatelain, you're a non-side of the queue.
I just have to share that, you know, if this is something that has been planned for a year, I'm pretty disappointed that the questions I've asked haven't been answered, which is really just simply what's the budget. And I'm only saying this publicly because I've been very patient and I haven't asked more, and I'm confused on why it keeps getting pushed, because in my mind, does that just mean we're making kids wait longer to not receive what looked like a pretty great proposal? So that's great that, you know, you want more time, but when I apply for grants and things, I mean, my ducks are in a row, and I'm struggling to understand why they aren't in this matter, especially when I asked how long has this been worked on, and I was told about a year ago. Again, I think YWCA is a wonderful organization doing incredible things in this community, and I'm worried that we are putting our kids on pause to tackle what to me is a crisis with truancy and school safety, and we've now just gone months of just saying, well, we'll get to it.
Thank you so much for those comments. What we've spent time doing, an example is with the district attorney's office. We were looking to make sure that we're helping to expand the work that is going on. There's additional schools that they wanted to consider that also influences the budget. And so we're having thorough conversations to make sure that we have our schools aligned correctly, the number of schools that we're looking to impact, the number of hours that we're looking to be there. So we're trying to be comprehensive. It's why it's taking a little additional time. But I do respect your comments, and I appreciate them wholeheartedly.
Thank you. That is your questions, Ms. Chatelain? Okay, thank you. I will now enter the queue, and I'll try to be as fast or as brief as possible. So one, this item took place when it was first established. It was around November last year. The reason why it was being put off, again, we talked a lot last week about politics. The reason why it was put off was because some board members did not want to partner with then the mayor's office. So respectfully, we took it off. And as you said, Ms. Chatelain, the longer we wait, kids are in the balance, and they're the ones that are losing. The next organization that we tried to replace it with was also put inside of a political enthrall, and we had to take it off again. So we had to find an organization who can not only help us move the work, but also who had the wherewithal and the professional setting of services that they have either done it before or someone who could connect to our district who does amazing work, which that was the YWCA. In that time, what I can tell you is that it is not the same population of students. We are talking about students who have historically not been inside of our schools or have historically been placed inside of alternative school setting. There is no progress monitoring. We're talking about students who are in schools and having fights on a regular basis, and they have no way of either being monitored or having something that is going to build in intervention-based work for them. We don't pay teachers to break up fights. We don't pay our SROs inside of our schools to break up fights. In fact, that was one of the things that came up when we saw the 200 student brawl that took place at Brookstown Elementary, because they are not in a position to do so. This particular plan puts together enough resources so we put people inside of schools who have the wherewithal and the professionalism to do that. I just want to be very clear about that. And also, this is budget neutral. This is not coming out of the fund balance. When we went through the budget over the course of the summer, it was not coming out of the fund balance, and it did not come out of our general fund. It came out of ESSER, or title funding, meaning that it was completely, budget neutral. And again, we're talking about a population of students who historically have never received any direct services to get them caught back up to speed. So I just say all that to say that is the contextual history of it in a nutshell. But I agree with you. This is something that we should not keep kicking down the street or down the hole, because the longer we do this, we're going to continue to go through the same situation. As you know, last month we just went through a hearing where a gun was brought on campus by a student. These are the types of cases that we're trying to reduce, but we have to get in front of it. So I'll stop there. Thank you again for your comments. I see we have School Board Member Michael Goday in the queue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lannis. Just a comment from me. When I look at the school system, I think if I had to rank the three biggest areas of my focus, it would be early childhood education, it would be the progress in high school, particularly in ninth grade, and getting kids to graduate and the dual enrollment and those sorts of things. And then the last would be truancy and attendance, because if the students, I hate to call them kids, so they're not goats, if the students are in class, they have a chance to learn. If they're not in class, they don't. So I don't particularly have, I'm glad to see that we're focusing on this, and I think the piece that is not connecting for me, and it might be a way for the YWCA and stuff to work on this, I think I need a presentation that says, okay, here is what we're doing for here's how the whole system works for truancy, for how do all these pieces fit together, and then what's missing, and then how does this fit into that piece? Because I think what we're getting is a description of that one piece, and we're clueless on what is our entire truancy program look like, where have we been successful with it, where have we haven't, and how is this going to help us increase our success by addressing the areas we're deficient in. So I don't think that we are getting a broad enough picture. It's kind of like telling us this is a great tire, but if we don't know what a car looks like or what the car needs, we can't tell you if that's a good tire or not, or if I want to buy it. So my request would be we really need a comprehensive overview of the whole truancy, counseling arena, and then plug into, okay, this is how the big picture looks. This is where this part fits in, and that's why it makes sense. That's what I'm missing, and I get the sense from some of my fellow board members that's also what they're missing.
Yes, sir.
I think it might be the best program in the world. I'm not saying anything at all about the program. I applaud the organization for stepping forward. I'd love to see us do it if it works, but I just got to have context.
Yes, sir. And I don't think anybody's bashing the program. I think everybody on this board, at this dais rather, can say that the YWCA does amazing work, and I just need more information. So that's completely understood. At this time now, I go back to the queue. I have School Board Member Patrick Martin in the queue.
Thank you, President Lennis. I wanted to second my colleague, Mr. Goday's comments. I think that this appears aimed at addressing one particular piece of the truancy issue. I agree that truancy is one of the most major issues that we're facing. We have to get the kids in school, because if they're not in school, they're not going to learn. I think you're absolutely right, President Lannis, that there are kids who are afraid to go to school, that are not going to school because of safety concerns, parents who are afraid to send their kids to school, and sadly, they're justifiable fears, right, based on the harrowing stories you recounted and others that we've all heard and get emails about on an almost weekly basis, tragically. So I think there are also kids who are truant because they can't get transportation, or because they, mom or dad doesn't just can't get them there, can't get them up in the morning, they're gone, kid doesn't want to go there. There are a lot of reasons that kids don't go to school, and this does appear to address one piece, but not all of them. And then we shouldn't not address one piece of it because we can't address all of it at once. But I do think it's important in this issue that we have some contextual understanding. Maybe we can think about at some point in the near future creating a task force or something like that with 1 or 2 board members on it, teachers, members of the community, to really look at this issue, look at what the district, understand what the district is already doing, and think about what the district can do, both spending money and things that maybe we can do that don't require spending a lot of money in order to move forward on this issue. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And that's duly noted. And those are all great points, by the way. Thank you, School Board Member Martin. All right. Seeing no other names in this queue at this time, I'll now turn to public comment. Some comments, one particular comment I have to read offline for confidential matters. I'll just read it offline. First comment is going to come from Ms. Storm Matthews. She says, I support this item. These kids need help. Next, we have Dr. James Finney.
Thank you. I would prefer that instead of deferring this to a date uncertain and having this discussion loom over all your future discussions until it finally wears you down and you pass it just to be done with it, I would suggest deferring it until you adopt next year's budgets, all of them. Or just kill it tonight, because here's the main issue. You're proposing to spend $1.5 million of federal money without having done an RFQ. My understanding is that you can't do that. Calling this a cooperative agreement doesn't get around the fact that you're buying professional services and you didn't give anybody else a shot at giving a proposal. Furthermore, they've had a year to negotiate this and it hasn't worked yet, so I think you all have better things to do than to get drugged through this month after month or twice a month. So if there is an issue with truancy or with fights at school, and I don't doubt that there are, the first step is to define the problem. Let's have some data. Discuss the data, let the community brainstorm some ideas, decide whether it makes more sense to hire $1.5 million a year of more people to put in the schools or in the communities, and then decide how to pay for that. And only if, God forbid, you decide the best way to do this is to privatize these services, then at least follow the law and do an RFQ instead of picking one provider or a group of providers and finding some shell organization that's willing to funnel the money through to them, which has been alleged is the plan here. Just either defer this way down the road or kill it tonight, be done with it, and then go back and define and solve the problem. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Finney. Seeing no other comment cards on this item, we come back to our board. Seeing no names inside of the queue, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. All right, moving right along to item FC. This is professional service contracts, Lexia Learning Systems, LLC. I'm sorry.
Item F3.
F3, I'm sorry. What did I say? FC, I apologize. F3, Professional Service Contract, Lexia Learning Systems, LLC. This is a consideration of a request for the approval of professional service contracts between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and the following. A, Lexia Learning Systems, LLC, in the amount of $138,697 to provide services to improve literacy development, funding source, Educational Excellence Fund. B, Lexia Learning Systems, LLC, in the amount of $160,000 to provide services to improve literacy development, funding source, comprehensive literacy state development, K-5. And C, Lexia Learning Systems, LLC, in the amount of $52,323 to provide services to improve literacy development, funding source, comprehensive literacy state development, UINK5. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Mark Ballou, seconded by School Board Member Lewis. Okay, this time now, go to the queue. Give school board members ample time to enter inside the queue before we move along to our board comments. Okay, seeing no names in the queue at this time now.
Mr. Lannis, you have one comment in email from
Yes,
that
sir. I
individual.
was getting ready to get to it. All right. This comment comes from Ms. Storm Matthews. Teachers overwhelmingly approve, and I think that Lexia is a good supplement to the teachers' work in the classroom. The one thing they said was, please stop with all of the mandates. The actual item is on the LETR's training, which was at first a little confusing. This is a state mandate as a new addition to what was added for certification. Many people have not been happy about that part, but it is what it is. Next we have Dr. James Finney.
I appreciate that you're reading those comments from the people that weren't able to be here. This is $350,000 of federal money going to one vendor with no evidence of a state-approved contract or an RFQ or anything else. My understanding is the limit is $250,000. Eventually, if you keep breaking procurement rules using federal money, the federal government might insist you give some of that money back. I would be cautious. My understanding is this is great software, so why not follow the rules and do it right? Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other cue cards for this item at this time, and now go back to our board. First in the queue, we have School Member Patrick Martin. You have the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to ask our attorney, Mr. Shamlin, to comment on that last point. My understanding is, I think, and anybody can correct me, is that Ms. Matthews' comment is correct, that this is really for the teacher training or something like that, and it is a state mandate that we have no choice but to do this. So, Mr. Shamlin?
That's correct, Mr. Martin. Thank you.
Is the state mandate for this particular software program?
Yes, and we could have someone come up from staff to describe in more detail, but we are mandated to put this into place, and these are pre-approved, so we don't have to go through that process.
Okay.
And I looked into that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Next in the queue, we have School Member Lewis.
You answered my question as well.
That's all, Coach? Yeah. Oh, you short tonight, huh? I heard that. Christmas time. All right. Seeing no other names in the queue at this time, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving right along. Next item up for consideration is going to be professional service contract, line for line. This is a consideration of a request for the approval of a professional service contract between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and line for line in the amount of $16,000 to support 21st Century Grant After School Program Initiative. Strategic alignment, student achievement, funding source, 21st Century Grant. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Lewis, seconded by School Board Member Chatelain. Time now. We'll come to our board for public comment. I'll give every board member a second in case they want to enter the queue. Seeing no board comments at this time, we'll now go to the public for any public comments. Seeing no public comment card on this item, I'll now come back to the board. Seeing no names inside of the queue, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving right along, next item for consideration is a contract renewal with the City of Baton Rouge Adult Education EBR Prison. This is a consideration of a request for the approval to renew a contract between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and the City of Baton Rouge in the amount of $134,110 to allow the East Baton Rouge Parish School System Department of Adult and Continuing Education to continue providing adult education classes and high-set testing for inmates at the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Funding source, East Baton Rouge Parish Grant. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Martin, seconded by School Board Member Stewart. At this time now, I'll turn to the queue to see if we have anybody who wants to speak. I see School Board Member Martin, you have the floor.
So make sure I'm understanding correctly and the public understands. This is not us paying $134,000. This is the city paying us $134,000 to deliver educational services to young adults or old teenagers who are currently housed in the parish prison. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Shamlin.
That is correct.
Sounds like a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the next in the queue, we have School Member Michael Goday.
Yes, thank you. I was just curious how the cost figure was determined.
I would have to have staff speak to that. Specifically, it's based on services and how we deliver services, and I don't want to speak for our DODED program. So if someone here from the DODED can come up and give us some specifics, that'd be good.
I mean, it's a good program. I was just curious,
Yeah.
you know.
We can get that information for you, Mr. Goday, but I don't have that in front of me. That's
Okay.
something
Just
the
if you-
department would have to give to us.
Okay, if you could just get it to me, because I would just like to know, you know, if we're increasing that number of people and
Yes.
things like that. If the services are greatly needed, but we have to be compensated for what we provide. That's the only thing I'm asking.
We'll get that for you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, School Member Goday, and I'm next inside of the queue. And again, I'll try to be real brief. Without speaking towards an item that we already have spoke on and moved it along to a date uncertain, I would just say that these are the types of partnerships that we should be in agreement with. Working alongside city partners who directly work inside of prisons with populations that much mimic some of the students that are actually attending inside of our schools. What I would say to this is that we should also be putting up an investment to go towards that same population across our city, because this is a direct testament as to what happens when we don't invest into the lives of those who needs it the most. And by doing this, I think it not only makes our school system better, but it makes our city better for all of the people who live in it. So I'll just stop there. Seeing no others, we got School Board Member Cliff Lewis. You are in the queue.
And this question may be kind of redundant, but I'd like, and I'm sure that our teachers probably do, whomever's providing the services, is there some type of pre-testing and post-testing so we can see the effectiveness of the program? So we can kind of measure where they are, he or she may be, and where they end up at the end of the grant at services?
I think that's kind of like what Attorney Shamlin was saying, I don't think anybody's here. That's kind of like would be the person that colleague Gode was.
So
looking
nobody is from adult ed here?
for. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, oh, well, we have Mr. Brickhouse who can speak towards it.
So, yes, so we have to, there is a pre-testing that's done, because they have to find out where the students are, then they are given the assessment to determine whether or not they are actually able to pass. And so we try to support the students' instruction, because at the end of the day, we want to have them be prepared so they can go back into the workforce and improve their instruction, pretty much increasing their reading and math skills. And so that's part of what we try to do to support them.
Because if we can track that, then we could maybe find holes in the program. You know, maybe we need to do a little bit more of this or a little bit less of that to make sure that these guys are actually, he or she, actually getting exactly what they need.
Yeah, we do it
So they can
overall
move.
assessment so that
Okay,
we can
okay.
find out what their strengths and weaknesses
Yeah. And when we do that, when this program's over, I'd like to see the results,
are. Okay.
where they started and where they finished.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brickhouse. That's all for you, Coach? Okay. All right. Okay. Ms. McMillan, you speaking on this item? Okay, you have the floor.
Tanya McMillan. I have a child here in East Baton Rouge Parish School System. And I just want to say that we have programs that are expected to be in place in East Baton Rouge Parish Schools that would prevent us from needing these programs in the future. We have programs. The issue is that no one is holding anyone accountable for implementing the programs. Our superintendent has set the expectation that certain things are done in our school that would prevent the need for these services. No one is holding anyone accountable for actually implementing the programs. My child's school alone, PBIS, is a multi-tiered system. It would help you to identify who needs counseling, who needs one-on-one, who needs extra help. It was not being used for 2 years. Under our new administration, it's being used. My child is now thriving. Many of children who had issues before are now thriving because that program is actually being implemented. We had a discussion before about the kids at the continuation school and what was going to be done to support them. No one had an answer. The program is already there. It's not being implemented. Our superintendent has put together some great programs. He has set the expectation that some great programs be used. No one is holding anyone accountable for not using them. That could save us from needing this. Again, we need to be proactive, not reactive. So President Lanus, I agree, we need to invest more into keeping our kids out of the need for these programs. The money is there, the programs are there, the expectation is set, and nobody is being held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McMillan. Seeing no other cue cards on this item at this time now, we'll come back to the board. Okay, seeing no names inside of the queue, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item up for consideration is item F6, land sale. Consideration of a request to accept the proposal of parcel 7231 and 31C1 as identified in the appraisal report, Form C, City Parish Project Number 12-C-HC-0060, and to authorize the board president and general counsel to execute all documents related to the final sale of the identified parcels, strategic alignment, exemplary customer services. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Mike Gode, seconded by School Board Member Patrick Martin. This time now, I'll turn to the queue. School Member Michael Gode, you're in the queue. You have the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Shamlin, this has been talked about in the past. Could you just walk us through again what this is about and what it refers to and how we kind of have to do this? Could you just give us a 2-minute summary of this?
I can do 30 seconds. So the city
No, I need
parish-
2 minutes.
All right. City Parish is seeking to expand Jones Creek. They require to purchase, they're seeking to purchase a strip of land that runs adjacent or along the Woodlawn Middle property. In essence, they can take the property if we didn't sell it to them. So they've submitted appraisals. The board will be approving the appraisals tonight and authorizing us to execute the sale. And it's for fair market value. Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time now, we have School Member Nathan Russ in the queue. You have the floor.
Yeah, this board member, Attorney Shamlin, you may be able to answer this. My only question regarding the sale of the land is how, because I looked through this thing backwards and forwards, and I'm not an architect nor a surveyor, right? How does it impact the walking trail that is part of that property that they're looking to subdivide?
Yeah, I wish I could answer that definitively, Mr. Russ. My understanding, and Mr. Morales has kind of overseen this project for us, my understanding is it will not, he's not here tonight, but it will not impact the walking trail to my understanding. That is something we can get you further information on. Though.
Yeah, just more out of curiosity and knowing,
Sure.
you know, that is part of the school's land and then a cooperative agreement with Breck, right? And they're going to lose the sign, so Breck's going to get paid for the sign. I just didn't know if it was going to get too close to the actual trail itself or not, but I'll follow up on that. It's kind of something we got to do.
Yeah, and I can get the board that information pretty quick.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other names out of the queue at this time now, we will go to public comment. Dr. James Finney.
Thank you. This particular sale seems harmless, but it reminds me that you would be hard-pressed to get from the administration a list of the legal descriptions of the property, real estate parcels that this system owns. And you've been promised a facility master plan for this entire administration, and that has not been delivered. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Finney. Seeing no other names to speak from the public at this time now, we will now go back to the board. Seeing no names inside of the queue, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along, the next item for consideration is item F7, Memorandum of Understanding. This is a consideration of a request for the approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Junior Achievement of Greater Baton Rouge in the amount of $90,500 to provide support services for students, strategic alignment, student achievement, funding source, general fund. Can I get a motion? Moved by Schoolman Nathan Russ, seconded by Schoolman Patrick Martin. Okay, at this time now, I'll turn to the queue for any board comment. Seeing no names in the queue at this time now, I will turn to board comment. I see we have Ms. Paula Dawson, who is with Junior Achievement. You have the floor if you want to make any comments.
Good evening. Just want to thank you all, to our board members. With you all, we have created a very good partnership with Junior Achievement. Most of you are aware of what we've been doing in the school systems, offering sequential education around financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. So we've been doing some really great things together, working in that K through 5 space with our JA in a Days, our Leading Ladies and Mentoring Men, mentoring programs, half day with them, and then our Finance Park, where the students become an adult for the day for our middle to high school age. Dr. Narcisse had the vision. We've basically been the implementers, and you've all allowed us to do so. So we ask for that support and appreciate all you've done.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other I'm sorry, we have two names inside of the queue this time. School Board Member Patrick Martin, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Lannis. In the very long ago days when I was an East Baton Rouge public school student, I participated in junior achievement. And the entrepreneurial spirit that they inculcate in our students and the financial literacy that they promote are absolutely invaluable skills in today's economy more than ever before, truly. So they're a great program, and I'm excited to support this and continue this partnership with them.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your comments. Next, we have School Board Member Nathan Russ in the queue. You have the floor.
Thank you. Well said, Mr. Martin. I just want to thank Junior Achievement for their continued partnership with the district. I've had the opportunity for I don't know how many years now to go and volunteer to administer this program at my kids' school, and the kids they enjoy this so much. Not only because they don't have to do all the regular coursework for half a day, but the programming is really strong. It engages the kids, and I've done it from first grade all the way up to fifth, and at every level it's appropriate. The kids really love what they're learning, and I enjoy as an entrepreneur being able to see kids build financial literacy skills, which is so very important for kids in our state to do. So I just want to continue to thank you for your partnership in this, and commend the district on its work with this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Next in the queue, Madam Vice President Paul Lewis.
Of course, my colleagues have shared my sentiments as well. I've had the opportunity to participate in the finance park as a teacher of bringing my students from Scotlandville in the past, back in the day. And the students gain so much valuable knowledge as far as being able to manage their own budgets. So the fact that we will be able to expand this programming to more schools in the North Baton Rouge area makes me excited. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next in the queue, we have School Member Cliff Lewis. Thank you, Coach. Right, this time now, seeing the names in the queue, I'll just say very quickly, well, you know where I stand. I love everything that Junior Achievement does. I was a student that also participated in Junior Achievement when I was in school, and it has not changed. It's only gotten better, actually. And I look forward to the future partnership that should be coming next semester when we cross that line. But thank you all again for all the amazing work you do with our students and also inside of our schools. All right, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. Motion carries.
Okay, moving right along. Our next item for consideration is item, I'm sorry. Oh, next item for consideration is item F8, stipend. This is a consideration of a request to accept the Louisiana Department of Education differentiated compensation allocation and approve the one-time non-reoccurring teacher stipend strategic alignment operational excellence. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Patrick Martin. Seconded by School Board Member Lewis. Dr. Narcisse, you have the floor.
So, President Lannis and the board, I'd like for us to defer this to the next meeting. We met with teacher unions and other partners this week and just wanted to discuss a more thorough way to get this distributed, even though the state provides regulations around that we think would be a little bit more fair across the board. So we just asked for the board to allow us to move this to the next agenda item.
Yes, sir. All right. Next in the queue, we have School Board Member Carla Powell Lewis.
Okay, quick question first. Dr. Narcisse, if you could just share, will this change any form of the timeline of when our teachers would receive the stipend?
Ms. Hall, I don't think so, but Ms. Hall, I just want to confirm with you.
No, it will not. I can't see so far. No, it will not. Sorry.
Okay. All right, thank you. So with that in mind, if I can offer up a substitute motion that we will defer this item until the January full board meeting.
Okay, so we have a substitute motion on the floor to defer this item to the January regular board meeting 2024. That was moved by Vice President Paul Lewis, seconded by School Board Member Shoshone Stewart. Okay. We can now come back to the board for any public comment on the substitute motion. Seeing no names in the queue at this time now, Dr. James Finney, public comment. Dr. Finney, you have the floor.
Thank you. Before I start, do you have any online comments to catch for this one?
Yes, sir. I was going to read it after you
Okay.
went.
I think deferring this sounds like a great idea because there are a few little tweaks that I think could make the presentation clearer. So I support the substitute motion, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now I'll turn to online comment from Ms. Storm Matthews, who says, I love that this is state funded. I have a few questions. One, are the sign-on bonuses for certified teachers only? I am concerned about people hiring their friends that will get a bonus and not stay because they are not actually teachers. Number two, can a highly effective teacher in North Baton Rouge at an alternative school site that teaches SPED get the stipend ×4? And number three, if not, make it happen. If we have people marking all 4 boxes, give it to them since yet again, the sign-on for new people is more. Okay, that concludes our online comment. Seeing other cue cards at this time for this item. Madam Secretary, I'm sorry, come back to the board for board comment. Seeing no names, School Board Member Patrick Martin, you're in the queue. You have the floor.
Thank you, President Lance. I did just want to ask the superintendent or Mr. Shamlin if they could address Ms. Matthews' questions, which was essentially there are 4 criteria. You know, if you meet one of those 4 criteria, you get the stipend. I think her question is, what if you meet all 4 criteria? Do you get it all? And I just want to. I'm all in favor of getting as much money as the state will let us give to the teachers, but I would like to know the answer to that question. Thank you.
So Board Member Martin, I'd love to answer that question, but if you just give us time to work through at the next meeting, there's a few things that we have to adjust. We met with some teachers and staff and also with union folks, so I don't want to give an answer because we have to, sure. I don't want us to stay on the answer, but Ms. Matthews, we will be able to answer all her questions at the next meeting.
As long as they're answered when we're actually considering it, that's great with me. Thank you very much.
Okay, seeing all the names in the queue at this time, Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. The motion carries.
Thank you. Well, what do you know? The hour is now 6:21, and we are down to our last votable item of the night, which is item F9, resolution. This is a consideration of a request for the approval of a resolution regarding the retention of the Queer, Clark, and Adams LLP as special counsel for the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and related matters. This is brought forth by Attorney Gwen Shamlin. Can I get a motion? Moved by School Board Member Lewis, seconded by School Board Member Martin. This time now, I will turn to the queue for any board comments. Seeing none at this time now, I will turn to public comment cards. We have Dr. James Finney. You have the floor.
Thank you. If the superintendent's interests in this legal matter diverge from the board's interests, I think the superintendent should hire his own counsel, and if it turns out that he acted lawfully, then later you could reimburse him for that. But even assuming that that I'm reading the memo incorrectly, I don't think you should approve this resolution because first it says, whereas effective December 1st, well, even before that, the adoption date at the beginning is regular board meeting November 2023. On the next page, it has an effective date of December 1st, 2023. Later in section 2, it has an effective date of January 1st, 2023. That was a long time ago. With the same language following. And then on section 7, It says the retention shall be for the term December 1st, 2023, which was a couple weeks ago. So have they already incurred billable hours? It's going to take time. Even if you approve whatever it is that this is supposed to say, it still has to be approved by the Attorney General. I don't think it's good to ask the Attorney General for forgiveness when you're legally obligated to ask him for permission to hire outside counsel, which, by the way, you have yet to have approved for Hammond and Sills. But assuming that it's legitimate to hire a separate outside counsel for the superintendent, and assuming nothing is billed before the Attorney General approves this, would you really want to hire attorneys that won't even proofread their resolution? Excuse me, I almost pulled a Martin moment there. I would encourage you to defer this until a date well after this is settled. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Finney. All right. Seeing no the public comment cards at this time, we'll now go back to our board. Madam Vice President Paul Lewis, you have the floor.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Shamlin, could you straighten out some of that, please, for us? Thank you.
Yeah, so part of the problem is this was brought in November with the intention of approval in December. There is an error in the document as to an effective date. So if the board could just amend this motion to allow me to make that correction, I'd appreciate it. I would also like to clarify, we have a policy that requires us to indemnify and defend our employees, including the superintendent, through any matter, even a matter where the employee may be in conflict with the board. So the issue here, and I can't speak too much detail because some of this is legal strategy. I have two firms currently employed by us. One conducted an investigation, the other one's handling the defense. And because of that, one of them, neither can represent conflict, employees of potential conflict in this matter. So we need a third firm for this particular matter. So I didn't want to put all that in the memo. I'm trying to keep information to a minimum because this is a pending litigation matter. Normally this is discussed in executive session, not in open. But I don't think this is going to damage us in any way. I just wanted to make sure you guys understood that is the issue. So I would request maybe a friendly amendment. I'm not a board member, so I can't do that, but an amendment to allow me to correct those dates to the correct date so we can proceed.
Okay. Mr. Martin, you're in the queue.
Yeah, I was going to suggest a friendly amendment to correct any of the relevant dates in here because they're, a couple.
Unfortunately, you can't make it.
I can't make it. I was going to, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. And as a mover or seconder, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Okay. So
to correct all the available.
I'm sorry.
all the accurate,
Ms. Stewart was in the queue, and she said she was going to make it, so we should be fine. You good with that, Mr.?
I'm good
okay.
with that, absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Stewart, you're in the queue.
I would just like to make a friendly substitute motion to defer it to January. It don't matter. Friendly amendment. I'm sorry, to correct the language or change the date, right?
To authorize
general counsel to correct the dates as needed in the document. I was good.
This is a friendly amendment to allow general counsel to correct the dates as needed. Okay, so I'll turn to the maker of the motion, which was Coach. You agree with the friendly? Yeah, you were the maker of this.
You raised your hand the same time I did, and he picked you to move it.
That's all right, Coach. It's about to be Christmas. That's all right. Okay. So you're good with the friendly? Yeah. All right. Scuba and Martin, you're good with the friendly?
I'm good with the friendly,
okay.
Yes, sir.
So the friendly has been accepted. Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Okay, our last items of the night are going to be our organizational meetings, but before we get into them, I'll just be real quick. Over the course of this year, our board has had some big issues to address, and what I can say is that I proudly served as the president of this board, and while we may not always agree on everything, I think that everything that is done inside of this boardroom and in front of this dais, in front of this horseshoe, is for the greater good of our community and the greater good of our kids, no matter where we stand. And I just want us to walk away and knowing that in our community to know that every decision that we make is always going to be to put kids first and put our school first as well as our employees. So we thank you, and we ask that you all have a very lovely, festive, and blessed Christmas and New Year holiday. And I'll just stop there. Our last items of the night are going to be our organizational items. These are announcements of meetings. There's going to be a special meeting held on January 11, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom. I'm sorry. I think I must be School Board Member Martin. School Board Member Martin, please take it away.
You have more hair than I do. You can't leave me. The special meeting to be held on January 11th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom. That'll be for the election of leadership. Committee of the Whole to be held on January 11th, 2024, immediately following the special meeting in the Central Office Boardroom. Regular meeting to be held on January 25th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom. That is all.
Yes, sir. All right. School Member Goday, you have the floor. Take your time, Coach, before you say it. Take your time.
We are adjourned until next week.
Happy holidays. Enjoy with your family.